Welcome back, everybody, to the weekend show where I'll be doing technical analysis on big mega cap stocks. So, before we get started, please hit that like button, and that is greatly appreciated. And if you're new here, definitely consider subscribing. Now, also, if you want to take advantage, head over to Patreon, or you can use one-time payment of $730 on PayPal. And this offer will not end tonight. I'm extending this offer up until Sunday night, midnight, November 30th, guys. So head over to Patreon, or you can use one-time payment of $730 through PayPal, and you can join, and you guys will see, these plays later on, what we do on Patreon as a group and how we trade. So this is a fantastic opportunity if you want to grow your account, if you want to learn, and you want to do this full time. But if you're not serious about trading, just because you're seeing people making money, just forget it. Ignore this video. Don't even watch it. It's only for serious people, guys. Now, let's get right into the market. Well, you can see right here how Black Friday became a retail letdown. So the sales are not there. People are feeling the effect of inflation, not having too many jobs out there, and economy is not in a good state right now. And people are actually feeling the effect of that. And you can see, how Black Friday, and you'll see more Cyber Monday. The sales are just not, there this year. Despite all that, what market did today, that was up once again 0.61%, almost close to all-time high. Nasdaq up 0.65%, S&P up 0.54%, and Russell going up also 0.57%. 11 sectors, you can see right here. Energy led the way, basic materials, consumer cyclical, communication services, pretty much everything in the green except a little bit of red here on healthcare. Stock market map. Well, this is kind of strange, and that's why I wanted to make this mega cap video right now, because Nvidia is down nearly 2%. It was down actually 2% at one point. But look at all the other chips. MU, AMD, you got Intel up 10%. Broadcom once again up, hitting another brand new all-time high. Meta, boy oh boy, this thing just would not stop. 580 some change, and look at it now. I mean, almost 640, $50 it's trading at. Google flat for the day. Eli Lilly took a big hit, down 2.61%. Tesla up on the day 0.84%. Amazon up 1.77%. And there were a lot of calls buying on Amazon. And also, I believe later on was Apple, where this thing was red. And then those calls came in and this thing spiked again, up a little bit less than 0.5%. But Microsoft from oversold. Remember a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about how Microsoft is oversold. And you will see that bounce. And this thing is back up 1.34%. Oracle down once again. PNW 2.58%, PLTR up 1.62%, and you can see consumer defensive, Walmart shining again and going up once again today. And now I think we need to talk about Nvidia. So let's just get started with Nvidia, guys. So I'm gonna start with Apple actually, because I just wanted to show you guys quickly what's happening. But I'll do Apple once we get over with Nvidia with daily time frame. But this is actually weekly, or as a matter of fact, let me just go back to monthly time frame here. And what do you see here on my screen? Well, it's in this structure right here. Since this low, and this low, and even this low down here, and you can see it right here. We're actually touching it. Every time we touched right here, we came back in. We did not touch. We went half away, came back in. Touched again, came all the way down to, look at this, 169. And then we're touching it again, this trend line. So, yes, we can go a little bit higher, but definitely there is a chance of, this thing pulling back. You can see just the last couple of months, all pretty much are green here, candles here on Apple stock. So that's why I wanted to show you guys this, that what's happening here with big names. And Nvidia, on the other hand, I mean, the market rallied on last week, and then especially this week, market rallying again without Nvidia. And this is kind of bizarre, where Nvidia not really going up, and some of the other semis are going up. You got Google just going back and forth, going back up every day, morning gap up 1% or 2%, and then giving those gains back. So Nvidia, what the heck is going on? I think it's just a matter of time where Nvidia breaks below this low down here, and it comes down and maybe closes some of these gaps to the downside. But as of right now, you can see right on my screen, it's just not happening, guys. And things can really take a different turn if this thing holds over 184. And I think next week, there might be some of these mega caps. You know how they do rotation. They would buy into Nvidia, maybe into Microsoft again, because these ones are a little bit down. AMD was down too, and they would take some money out of like Apple or let's say Google, because Google gapped up for no reason. I mean, we heard about these AI things before. The news comes out and then there's a gap up, and a few days later it fades and comes back, right? So that can happen definitely, and that's how it's been always. Rotation in between these mega cap stocks. They would buy three, four, sometimes they would buy all of them. These whales, the big money, they keep doing the same thing over and over. And don't get surprised, if we see Nvidia going up and some of these big names coming down at that point, even the market can come down and Nvidia can stay here or possibly even go up. So Nvidia, as long as this thing gets over 184, I think there is a bullish call to the upside where this thing can go up to 190 plus, maybe even up to this gap, which is around 205, 206. But Nvidia remains here under 184. That's not really bullish, and this thing can come down easily, down to these lows down here, possibly 170, and maybe even down here, down to this low right here, 165, and then maybe even retest 160 if this thing remains below 184 come next week. On Netflix is up 1.36%. So we're back in the game again. It's over 106. We did had that breakdown for 3 days. It was trading below 106, and now we're back up over 306. So what's next here on Netflix? Well, if this thing can hold 106, we might see a push towards 110.59 and possibly even 113.50 on Netflix. But if this thing here, I mean, you can call this a mini bear flag that is forming. If this is actually going to play out, then this thing would come down to 104, maybe even a flat 100. On Apple stock, it's up 0.47%. So look at where Apple came down to and found support right here. Rising 5-day moving average, this blue line on your screen, sitting at 276, and it came down to 276 low for the day, found support, and then those calls they were coming in later on the day, and this thing pushed higher, closer to 279. So that is why I was actually showing you guys that weekly and monthly chart on TradingView where it's hitting that upper range. So we might get that, squeeze over that range and then comes back in. But looking at the volume, I mean, I'm not buying it. You can see it right here. I know it's a holiday, big holiday, weekend and all that. There is not much trading, but this is just too low volume here to trust this move and go and play something here. Obviously, anything that is trading at all-time high, not interested. So this thing trading at all-time high, definitely where could be an opportunity to maybe look into Apple? Well, nowhere near this all-time high, guys. If there is a pullback, maybe we pull back in, we come close some of these gaps, maybe retest, monthly breakout, something like that. Then we can talk about it. As of right now, Apple is not, nowhere near where I would say, this is actually a good opportunity. So Apple here, as long as that 277 holds, it can push towards 280, maybe even 286. But if this thing breaks below 278 and then 276, we might see a push all the way down to 273. And if that gives up, look at that. I mean, this thing will come all the way down to 265, and there is a gap that we came so many times. We did not close this gap, and not to mention this massive gap right here that we gapped up just a couple months ago right here. So Apple definitely due for a pullback, but We have to see how it actually plays out next week, whether this thing gets some sort of a fake out move to the upside over that channel and then comes back in. On AMD, it's up 1.54%. So, talking about day trading, this is where you lose money on day trades because right on this move, right here at 195, I took 205 calls. And where AMD is trading now, guys? 218, right? So, that was a day trade. I got out same day at 205. It went up back to 205. I think we closed at 206. And look at where it's trading now. So, that is the bad part about day trading. You don't get the full benefit. You just got to get out because you're day trading. And if you're swing trading, then you got to buy time. Weeklies, you cannot hold. And these were weeklies. They were expiring this Friday. And I wish, I was holding them, but, I just can't afford to take that risk, hold, a day trade overnight, unless it's like one contract that's different. But what do you see here as a pattern? I mean, this is definitely, double top, and then you can call this a rounding top as well right now. And this thing is just getting a dead cat bounce right now. So nothing too bullish here on AMD. It's still below the 50-day moving average, which is at 219 almost. If we can get over that, we might see a push up to 226. And that can actually turn into a bear flag as well. But AMD, I think it's going to come down at some point, close this gap at 170. So watch out for that. Just because we're getting that bounce, I mean, look at the volume here. Can you trust this? Absolutely not. So AMD watch these levels, and there is now, if this thing comes back, there will be support at 216, below that 211.35, and then the gap fill reversal can act as a support 206.58, and from there it can go much much lower, just like we have seen it last Monday and the week before on Thursday and Friday. On Meta, it's up 2.26%. Now, when I say if you're serious about trading, so if you are really serious, what I say in my video, that is exactly what I do. And I was showing you guys, and this is free of charge, just on YouTube, guys. All you have to do is like the video. This low from back in 2022, what happened here, right? We gapped up and never looked back. What happened right here? Back in April, right? This pullback, this was the dip. And what is happening here? This is the exact same chart. I have not changed anything. And I was saying that this is the dip, and we went in. I kept one contract, just one that I sold today, just before closing. From 20 to 100, it's 5 grand now. Just one. Just one. How many people not even get a paycheck in a month? Forget about making 2,800, 3 grand of one contract, right? Yes, I know there are some more crazy trades, people that take, SPX, zero DT, they make money, they also lose everything, right? This was no zero DT or 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month. It was pretty far out, 615 call that I had. And look at the move it actually made on some decent volume as well on a weekly time frame. But if you look at daily, I don't think it's gonna push, too hard. Come next week, Monday. But opportunity was there, guys, for a lot of you to make money on Meta. And look at the pump. It was oversold, perfect candidate. And I mean, if you just draw a line from here to here, you will see that it broke out of this downtrend and boom. I mean, look at this. It's up nearly $70 in just a matter of how many days? One, two, three, four. Today was the fifth day. It was a half a day. So 4.5 days. Massive, massive move. And that's how one good trade can actually make you money. But if you're just jumping all over the place and you're really like, you know, every time you just want to get into something, you have to wait for that opportunity. If you don't have patience, you cannot wait. You jump all over the place, you're not gonna make money. It's a guarantee. You're not going to be successful if you do that, especially with trading and especially trading big names, which we do a lot on my Patreon. So Meta here going into Monday's session 638, a key zone. If that holds, more upside, maybe up to 664, 682. Who knows, even higher up to this gap. Not next week, but that would come later on. 638 fails, we cannot hold. Watch out for a dump off down to this 5 day. 625, maybe even down to 616, gap full reversal on Meta. On Amazon stock, it's up 1.77%. So Amazon is another one, and you got to go back. And I don't like, I know some people they like to play recap, and it just takes too much time, even with editing and all that. So I'm not gonna go and play this, but you can go back where I actually made this video and I said I'm expecting a bounce on Amazon because this thing is getting pretty oversold. We had a massive, drawdown here from the top, and now is the time. And what happened? We didn't even touch the lower band. And look at this, guys. I mean, it was nearly 215, and now it's trading at almost 233, 234, right? So the bounce was there. So you got to get in at the right time. Now, if you caught this move here and say, oh, I'm going long at this 242, guess what? The next day, boom. Look at next couple days. It was a falling knife, right? So going into next week here on Amazon, what do you see right here? Well, that 233 to 232 has to hold. If that holds, more upside, maybe up to 236, 20-day moving average, and this big level. Over that, you might see another move up to 242, but that's too far away. Wait and see if this thing holds 233. If not, it would come down to 227. That's going to be a major key level here on Amazon that has to hold. If not, it's coming back down to 220 to 223 to close the gap, and Amazon possibly will find support down here if that happens. Also, I mean, yes, Amazon went higher, but this is not a bullish looking chart where I would say, oh, let's just go right here and there is more upside. Upside is limited. Already had a 4 days of rally here. So watch out if this thing pulls back, that can actually open up some opportunities, but not right now. On Microsoft, it's up 1.34%. So whenever the RSI gets oversold and you get a hammer type candle, what happens? Gap up and go. I mean, look at this. It came down to 465, and now it's over that key zone, which is 492, guys. So 492 holds. We might see a push towards 500, maybe even 504 to close this gap to the upside here on Microsoft. But if this is actually just a dead cat bounce, we would come right back. It'll break 492, and if that happens, it's coming all the way back down to 480, down to even 479 to close the gap, and possibly will go much, much lower. On Tesla stock, it's up 0.84%, so it's back in the box. So, game on again. We had this double top look, it was a topish pattern. It broke below this box, this chop box right here, and now we're back in the box. We did close that gap at 398, and now it's trading at 430. So there will be resistance, and we tried today. You can see 432.93 high for the day. Got that rejection. If this thing breaks over 432, it's heading higher, guys, easily up to 464. Now that would be top of the box, right? If this thing fails here and just trying to go back in, we also got low volume past couple days, and this thing fails right here and comes back and takes out the 20-day, which is at 425, takes out 417, the 5-day moving average, and bottom of this box. That means one thing, it's heading down easily down to 398 to 400, and then into even 380, 375, then 369 to close this gap and maybe even retest this breakout from back here. On Google stock, it's absolutely flat on the day. So once again, gap up and go. This morning it was up, I think 1.5%, and it was gapping up all the way back up to 326, 327. Rejection there, came back in, and it held the 5-day moving average, which is rising straight up 316.43. But this is one of those big names which is extremely overbought. Even though it's consolidating here, might go a little bit higher. But when I say overbought, it is really overbought right now, guys. On a monthly scale, on a weekly scale, and I think if this thing goes higher, that's gonna be even more overbought at that point. And you don't want to be nowhere near this thing, especially for the long side of it right here. So Google here, what is next? If this thing clears 327, 328, we might see 338, which is gonna be, like I said, even more overbought. At that point, I mean, this thing is not even tradable right now. To the downside, if you're shorting, you gotta buy time. If you're just blindly shorting weeklies, kudos to you. Good luck. If this thing comes back 5, 6, 7, $10. I mean, we caught that today. Myself, I did not really trade anything. We actually had a swing on PANW. We took profit on that play. and some other play was a swing trade, and this is the one that I took myself. It was a 0 DT. So what to share this risky play? I think I made it was a really small trade, only $1,500. But you can see as soon as it got up to this level, it got 320 puts, and it was expiring today. But this thing paid just a couple of contracts and 1,500 within like few minutes. This thing came back immediately. I actually had more money because it came all the way under 320, going over the money. So next week, be careful with this thing. If this thing breaks below this key zone, this 319 to 317, which is the 5 day and still rising, 319 to 317, this is the key zone right here. If this, like, you can go back into hourly time frame, you'll see it's happening right here pretty much. If that gives up, that opens the door for this gap down here, guys. 303.96 to even 300. So massive downside here on Google. That's like a 17 to $20 downside. If this thing breaks that level so far, yesterday, today, and even 3 days ago, it was pretty much holding right here. So Google is the next one that is really overbought and just gapping up and going, because these calls, they were buying these calls last week, last Friday, 330, and it happened. I mean, we got close to 330 and still trading at 320. So these wells are up massively, and I hope that take profit at some point. This thing pulls back. I mean, it's not even a retest of this breakout here, 292. It was ranging here, right? So it would make sense if this thing pulls back in, just like Amazon did. And it's going to pull back. I'm not going to say it's going to pull back this week, but it's going to happen. You guys can play this video later on. It's going to happen. It's going to pull back, whether we go higher, a little bit higher from here, or we come back in and we get a pullback from here. This thing will likely to come and close the gap. And at some point, just in maybe 3 to 6 weeks, you're going to see this gap getting filled, and then even retesting this high right here, which is a 292 on Google. And that is all I have for you guys in this video, and I'll definitely keep you guys updated Monday night. And folks that are joining, Patreon and getting that discount, you will see me live in Discord Monday, 9:30 a.m. And hopefully it's a good day. We can get some trades going and we can make some money. So good luck to everybody. I'll definitely catch up with you guys Monday night.